Hey, greetings! Welcome back to Sean's Irish Whiskey Shelf, coming at you from the heart of the United States, out here in the Midwest. And what I have for you this evening is Bushmills Prohibition Recipe. Now, this bottle of whiskey was a limited edition put out by Bushmills. You probably can't find it anymore. If you do see it anywhere and you're partial to Bushmills Irish whiskey, you really should pick it up. And I'm going to explain why here shortly. Because, anyway, to me, it's a fantastic drop of whiskey. So, Bushmills made this whiskey as part of the television series called Peaky Blinders. That series was set during the Prohibition Era, between World War I and World War II, and the gang leader, the leader of the crime syndicate, enjoyed his Irish whiskey. He was seen many times in the show going into the bar and having a drop of Irish whiskey. And Bushmills was Irish whiskey that was around during the Prohibition. So Bushmills decided to dust off the recipe that they used during that time and actually made whiskey just like it would have been back during the Prohibition era. You'll notice that the bottle, I don't know if you'll notice it on video here, I mean, I can certainly tell you, the bottle is a green tint as opposed to Bushmills' regular bottle, which is clear. So this has a green tint. It has a cork top, exposed cork, as opposed to the normal screw top that Bushmills has. This is 92 proof and non-chill filtered, where the standard Bushmills is chill filtered, and it is only 80 proof, I believe. Yep, only 80 proof. Essentially, what Bushmills did, or at least what I've been able to determine, is they took what would normally be their Bushmill White and made the Prohibition recipe out of it. Let it go for a little bit longer, so took it from 80 to 92 proof, and then they didn't chill filter it, but it's still essentially the same whiskey. Bushmills uses 100% malted barley in their whiskeys. The Prohibition recipe is a mixture of 3, 4, and 5-year-old whiskey. So, and they don't really say what that percentage is, but from what I've read, this is essentially Bushmill White, just done a little better, if you will. Higher alcohol content, and it's non-chill filtered. So, I like Bushmills. You know, we've done a comparison in the past where we've taken Bushmill and Jameson, Tullamore Dew, and Proper Number 12. We put those together. Bushmill was right up there with Tullamore Dew. I believe Bushmill would give Roe & Co., which is another one of my favorites, Powers Gold Label. Bushmills is right up there to me as an entry-level whiskey. So to take that and to make their Prohibition recipe, you know, I forgot about this. It's been on the shelf, and the other night I poured a drop of this, and I was like, oh my goodness, I have totally forgotten about this because I haven't wanted to drain it. Because when it's gone, it's gone. It's one of those whiskeys that you just won't get back. So I thought for this evening, we'll pull down the Bush White and the Prohibition recipe, and we'll kind of see how they compare. It should be, again, fairly close as to the type of whiskey that's in the bottle, but I bet you it's going to taste much, much different. And we're going to see how different that is. All right, so first off, Bushmill White, your standard run-of-the-mill Bushmill. You should be able to find this in just about any liquor store. It's not a special order, and it really shouldn't be very expensive either. So here we go. It's a fine drop of whiskey. When I think of entry-level whiskeys that are more of a blend, this is it. This really, really is an excellent drop of whiskey. Copper pot stills. Yep, that's the way Irish whiskey's made. Single malt whiskey distilled and combined with fine grain whiskey. So you got the blend. It really is a very, very good whiskey. Aged a minimum of 3 years. So it could be more. It just says a minimum of 3, which is kind of the way Irish whiskey is supposed to be. If you're going to be a traditional Irish whiskey, you want to be at least 3 years old before it goes in the bottle. All right, so as I expected, great drop of whiskey. Let's go over and check the Prohibition recipe now. It's a little bit darker. It's got a little nice darker amber color than the Bushmill White. Tommy Shelby on the show enjoyed his Bushmills, and he would have been drinking this during the Prohibition era. So let's just see how good it is. Yeah. I cannot dispute that the reviews that I've read online that say that this is a more full-bodied, full flavor sort of offering from Bushmills than the Bushmill White, that is spot on. So, this is going to have a little bit more of the alcohol burn because, 92 instead of 80, but it's not hateful. Not at all. In fact, they're very close. It's really just not that much more, but the flavor, the profile that you get, the body that you get is so much more in this Prohibition recipe. I would love to see Bushmills make Prohibition recipe as a standard, because it might actually sell better than the Bushmill White. If you're looking for a real, true, back to the roots sort of Irish whiskey, this is it. I really do think, in my opinion, my blue collar palate, I think the Prohibition recipe is a better drop of whiskey than the Bushmill White. So that said, we've talked before about whiskey for newcomers, Irish whiskey for those new to the field. I don't know that I'd start them on the Prohibition recipe. You still want to start someone who's never had whiskey before, kind of down something a little less powerful. I don't know, maybe that's where Bushmill White is an excellent starter. But once you've got someone hooked and they're in and enjoying Irish whiskey, and they want something that just hits their taste buds so much better than something like a Bushmill White or a Powers, then Bushmill Prohibition recipe. I can't say enough. This really, really is a fine drop of whiskey, and just so much more powerful, so much more taste bud awakening than Bushmill White. That is fantastic. As much as I think Bushmill White, Tullamore Dew, the blends that I like, as much as I think those are great Irish whiskeys for blends, Prohibition recipe just knocks it out of the ballpark. So anyway, that's really all I have for you this evening. I would always, give you my shout out for hard to find whiskey, telling you that if they don't have it, you probably don't need it. I don't think you're going to find Bushmill Prohibition Recipe up on Hard to Find Whiskey. It's really, really hard to find, but hey, go give them a shout anyway. Take a look at what they've got right there. Hard to Find Whiskey at htfw.com. Check them out, see what they've got. They don't have just Irish whiskey, my goodness. They have Scotch, bourbon. You know, if whiskey is your thing, you want to check them out. So, Hard to Find Whiskey. Great folks. I love them. And they're my favorite vendor now. If you enjoyed this video, if you liked this comparison, take a second, go down there in that corner, click the thumbs up, because that means a lot to me and know that you liked the video, and it helps keep the YouTube algorithms happy. And if you haven't already subscribed, hey, go down there in the other corner, click the subscribe button, and once you do that, you can click the thumbs up, and you'll be notified when I come out with a new video. Once a week, that's my schedule. I try to get once a week, sometimes twice, and I don't know what we're going to do next week. It's always a surprise, unless I have something new that comes in. But, you know, with all these bottles back here, hey folks, we'll find something to drink together. That's the important thing. Doesn't matter what it is, we'll have a drop together. So until we do that next week, I want you to enjoy your drop of whiskey, because any reason to have Irish whiskey is a great reason. But I need you to do it responsibly so that you can be here next week. And until then, I want you to be well and be safe. All right? Sláinte. Bye now.